Okay, ma'am. Yeah, so no, let today we're going to discuss about the ways to create user-defined macro variables. Okay, so let's go through one by one. So this, this topic will cover both local and global macro variable creation. Okay, first, no, let's start with few global. So in global we have percentage let. Using percentage let, we can either create a macro variable in local or in global. So let's start with global. So the syntax is simple, ma'am. Percentage let macro variable name equal to value. Okay. For example, we have here percentage let name equal to Anjani and percentage let age equal to 25. Okay. So it's so this name is a macro variable and the and when we call it using put or using put or when we call it in any other macro uh, I mean any other macros or any other data statement or SQL statements, it gets resolved to Anjani. For age it gets resolved to 25. Okay, so let's see. For example, I'll run this. Okay, and I mean, as you know, and so in a way we have discussed the last session. So whenever we want to see the data, what is present in a particular macro variable, we just simply have to mention percentage put ampersand name dot. Okay, so this will display the data in the log window. Okay, yeah, same thing for age. Let's write down the age. It's percentage put ampersand age dot. Okay, age 25. Okay, the same thing here. So next one here is date equal to sysfunc of today, comma date 9 dot. Okay, so let's decode this particular statement. So why do we use sysfunc in sysfunc here? SYFFUNC. Okay, so basically, whenever you want to write or use any kind of a functions, we have we have data step functions, right? Remember, ma'am, character, numeric functions, and all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in order to use them in the in the in the macros, we use sysfunc. Okay, we use sysfunc before that. No, remember we used just simply mention date equal today. Remember, ma'am, which
Yeah.
which used to give us the date value. So in order to use in order to use this particular function and assign it to a macro variable, we have to mention person is sysfunc. For any, for any, in order to use for any kind of a function in the macro variable, in the macros, we have to mention sysfunc before it. Okay, it will be in this way. Percentage sysfunc of today. So today is the function name, comma, date 9 dot. So date 9 dot is the syntax of sysfunc. Okay. Okay, mainly percentage in simple terms, you can simply mention sysfunc of some function name, comma, date 9 dot. Okay, some can be date 9 dot. Mostly, we use it for dates and all. Okay. Yeah. Um, yeah. So if we run this particular portion, we get today's date. Okay, in date 9 format. Clear? Hello? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So remember we use today date here, same way the above one. Okay, 16th September. Okay, the same way here it is. Whenever you want to use any kind of a function in terms of dates and all, always make sure you mention those enclosed with sysfunc. Okay, next one. So I have a data set called models. So which have model, class, price, frame. Okay, I'll run this model. Yeah. Okay, here what I'm doing is, sorry, I'm mentioning bike class equal to mountain. Okay, so what is bike class? Okay, bike class equal to mountain. So this particular data set is a kind of a bike models. Okay, so I want to mention bike class equal to mountain. So so here what is bike class, ma'am?
Class, class variable, macronym,
It's a macro variable. Okay, not class or macro. It's a macro variable. Okay,
variable. Okay.
variable.
Mhm.
Okay, so mountain is the value. Okay, mountain is a
Yeah.
value which we are assigning to this bike class. Okay. Now I'll run
Okay.
this. It will be so if I run this in an open code, if I create a macro variable in an open code means not in between the macro and the main statement. Okay, open code
Mm.
means not inside the macro main statement. So if we create any macro variable inside the macro and main statement, what happens? It will be treated as a local macro variable. But if you create any kind of a macro variable out of the macro statements, so it is considered as global macro variable.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So by class equal to mountain. So how can we use it? So here what I'm doing is I want to print the data of model such that I want to extract class. So I have a uh, variable called class. Okay. So I want to extract class equal to mountain. So instead of writing class equal to mountain, I'll simply mention ampersand by class. Okay. So
Mm.
what does
Yeah.
this eventually gets called to mountain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I observe carefully, okay, let be. I'll just run this portion. Yeah, if you see, our data got filtered with class equal to mountain. Okay. So current models of mountain bicycles. Okay. So why again mountain? I used here ampersand by my class. Got it, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally we use single quotations, right? For any kind of a character variable, right? Character data, right? Okay. Remember, ma'am, we always used to use single quotes.
Mm.
Okay, it will still give us the same data. And now here I'm using double quotes. Why is the reason, ma'am?
For macros, we have to use the
Hmm.
double quotes.
Right, right. Always make sure that we use, make sure that whenever you have you have to whenever it's a priority, whenever you have an opportunity to use macro variables in any kind of scenario where it is considered to be a character variable. Okay, make sure you use double quotes. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
because these two are kind of the same quotes, but this is kind of a macro variable being called here. This is a direct ingestion. Clear, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah. So next one. So that is let. So that is the usage of let. Okay, using let is in sense creating the global macro variable. Okay, next one. Next one is global. Okay, so whenever we use global, okay, global percentage global, so so it is something that we can simply assign dummy data to a macro variable, which will be considered as a global macro variable. Okay, getting it, ma'am? So if you see the syntax here, percentage global, a macro variable. So now what is syntax of let? Let is something called percentage let some a equal to 10. Okay, so it should have a macro variable, but in terms of global, in terms of global percentage global condition or statement, we use so a macro, we can simply just mention a macro variable. So here a will be a global macro variable, okay, which will have data as null. If you see here, okay, and there's no data here, null. Okay, so we can assign whatever we want for this a. Okay, in the in the near future. Okay, so let's see how can we do it. Okay, so I have certain conditions. Okay, so here I'm mentioning today one, okay, as global, yesterday as global, this month, last month, day, t month, l month, b day, business date, or beginning date or end date. Okay, I'm mentioning these as a global macro variable. Okay, so here, so I am just what I'm doing is, and again, I have already mentioned them to be a global macro variable, and now I'm assigning them with some data. Okay, so here these have dummy values, and now the next statement I am assigning some value to it. So how is it? So today one equal to sysfunc of today comma date 9 dot. So this will have the today's data. Okay, and yesterday, so I have to use int nx, right? So what does int nx do? It will calculate the days based on the date, right, ma'am? Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if you see here, what I have today ampersand today one dot d. Okay, so what does it do, ma'am? It will simply make sure, what does this d do? It will simply make sure this particular today is a date, right? Remember d? Remember
Yeah.
D, ma'am? We used to write, for example, A equal to 202, sorry, 13 June 2025 D. Remember, we used to write to make sure this is a date. Okay, the same. Okay, yeah. So here our condition is int nx of days, comma today. So this will get called as, or no, or this will get resolved as today's date, right? Today, comma minus one. So what is days in terms of days? It will calculate the yesterday's date, right? Clear, ma'am?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, can you decode this one? The two line 284, line
Here it
284.
calculates month, this is the month, and the day. It,
Okay.
it calculates the date, starting date
Start date of what, ma'am?
of the month September.
Okay.
Today, this
Okay.
month starting date.
Okay. Right. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. How about this one?
Uh, this one gives the starting of yesterday is the same month.
Sorry, what? Come again, ma'am?
Here the month is September,
Mm-hmm.
and the day we are calculating minus one, so it becomes yesterday. And S gives the starting of September only.
But you said this one also same, right?
Yeah.
Then what's the difference between these two?
So the previous month start date, for 285, it comes the August start date, I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right, ma'am. But okay, it's not about thinking. You have to be, you have to be more
Yeah,
sure on it because we used
concept,
here
yeah.
month. So what is, so we
Month.
use month. So what is month
Hmm.
minus one is previous month, right?
Previous month,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's not days. If it is days, it's just a minus 1 day. Yesterday. It is a month.
Okay,
So it will be a minus 1 month,
yeah,
which it will be a August, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Next one. Day of is substring of, so what, okay, yesterday, comma, 1, comma, 5. Okay. Uh, so what does 1, comma, 5 have, ma'am? If you see carefully, it's a date 9 function. So what does 1, comma, 5 have in terms, if a date is date 9 format?
Date 9. Um, oh, so Sabestia gives the like starting from first position
Mm,
to fifth position. We are extracting the
date.
date.
Some data. Okay, data from this
Yeah.
yesterday. Okay. So consider this yesterday have a date value in
Okay.
terms of date 9, right?
So it gives the date and a month.
How is it? I mean, no, no. How does it look? So, how does the data look? For example, take it as 01 September 2025. Okay. So, if I use substring
So
of, yeah.
it gives 01 SCP. Zero
Okay.
01 SCP.
Okay. Yeah. How about this one, ma'am?
It only gives the month
Okay.
SCP.
Okay. And this one?
Last month, this is the previous month, only the month.
Okay.
AUG
Yeah.
will be
Only
there.
the month. Okay. Anything is fine. I mean, it may be last month. Okay. I just want you to give me a answer on what does it have. That's it. Not the exact month is not required. Next one.
Yeah.
Okay. How about this one?
This is the beginning date, beginning date of
Hmm.
this month,
Okay. How about this one?
end date,
Okay.
31st,
Hmm.
30th.
Hmm. Okay. Let's run this then. You see, today is 16th September. Yesterday is 15th. This month is 16th. Last month is 16th August. Okay. Next one. Day is 15 SCP August, and beginning day is 01 and 30th. Clear, ma'am? Any questions on this one? So these
So
are.
percentage
Hmm.
let is for giving the value to the variable, and percentage put is we are calling the
Hmm.
variable.
Yeah. So
I-
personal let is
Am I
some.
correct?
Yes, yes, you're right, ma'am. So personal let is, it is useful to create user-defined macro variables. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So personal put is something that it may be a user defined or a system defined. If you want to know what data is in a particular macro variable, no, it to be printed in the log, we use put. No, remember we used to use put in data statement to
Yeah.
find out no, what is the data in a particular variable. The same thing here.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm. Pamit ma'am, clear on this? Any questions? Okay.
No, sir. Yeah, but I'm listening actually.
Okay, okay. No problem, ma'am. Yeah. Next one.
Sorry, I had a wound in my eye, so
Yeah, yeah. No, no, no issues, no issues. So next one, person is local. Okay, so person is local is something that it also say no does the same of as what local, no, global does. So the only thing, the only difference is person is local. We can't, we can only use it in between macro and main statement, but we can't use apart, in the open code. Okay. Whenever we assign a macro variable with the help of person is local, it can be only used within a macro statement, but not in the open code. Okay. So
Okay.
these are these are macro variables created out of the macro and main statement. So these can be called as global macro variables. Okay, so you can use anywhere in the SAS statement. You can even use it in between the macro and main statement, or you can use out of the macro statements. But whenever you treat that as a local, it can only be used in within the data. Okay, now we see here. So now I mentioned person is local, name, age, date, percentage let, name equal to Akshara, age equal to 20, date equal to some date value, put a name, age, date. Okay, see what happens here. Sorry, run this. Yeah. Okay, so we got this name, age, and date. Okay, and now if I simply run this one also the same way. So what does this have? Name, age, and date. Okay, I'll be getting what we defined in global, which is Rajiv 25, 16th of September. Clear, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah, previously we got for name for same name, age, and date. We got whatever we defined in the local in between the macro statement, and here we got the global one, which the one. What are the global ones? These. Okay, can be of same macro variable name, but the functionality will be different. Okay, when used out of the in open code, it will give the global data. When used in the macro main statement, it will give us the local data. Okay, next one. So we can't use person is global statement to convert local macro variables into global macro variables. Okay, while creating global macro variables inside a personal macro main statement definition, you must specify the global statement before you use macro variable. Okay, if you don't specify a macro variable with the with the person's global statement, it will be considered as a local variable itself. Okay, got it, ma'am?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, okay, yeah, yeah. Anyways, we got this right. You see here, we just mentioned personal macro and mend in between. We mentioned personal let today. Okay, for example, if I remove this, I mean, anyways, this I already got it right. Okay, what I'll do, I'll create a new one. Percentage let some EB date equal to. Okay, I'll simply run this motion. And now let's try percentage. Okay, if you see here, apparent symbolic reference ability is not resolved. Right, ma'am? Clear, ma'am? So we are
Yeah, yeah.
no, we aren't able to. If you run this particular portion here itself, yeah, you see, got the EB date here itself. Clear, ma'am?
Yeah.
Because we use only one put EB date. Yeah. So that's the use of let. So let can be used, to create both local and local and global variable macro variable. But if you mention person is global, it'll convert those, it'll just make sure those are global macro variables. But if you forget to mention personal global, it will be treated as a local macro variable, and you can't use that in the open code. Clear, ma'am?
Please repeat this, Rajiv,
Which
for the
portion, ma'am?
the global and local.
Okay, global and local from the start or just this last portion?
No. Just repeat this last sentence. Sorry, I missed something.
Okay, okay. So if you see here, whenever let can create both global and local macro variables. Okay. So if you use let out of the macro and main statement or in an open code, that will be considered as a global macro variable. And if you use let in between, in the macro and main statement or in the
Got it. Got it.
macro statement,
Okay.
it will
Okay.
be considered a
Local then.
local macro variable. But there is a catch here. If you mention person is global to the macro variable, to the macro variable, and you um, load some data into the same macro variable with the help of let or some other macro variable, or some other you know, uh, some other statement, can be of any statement, that will be considered as a global macro variable. If you forget, if you don't put a personal global to these macro variables, those are considered to be a local macro variable because they are created in between in the macro and main statement. Clear, ma'am?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. If you see here, whenever you create a local macro variable and a global macro variable with the same name, okay, and use it in a, and use it in a, and use it in a macro variable, in the macro and main statement, okay, it will always consider the local variable, okay, the local variable, okay. So let's see this one, okay. If you see here, personal let x equal 10. What does x mean here, ma'am? Ma'am, what does X mean
Global
here? Yes,
global variable.
global macro variable. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a global macro variable. And and here in between macro and main statement, I'm again using local. I'm again assigning x as a local macro variable and assigning it with the value of 20. Okay. Now tell me, if I run this entire portion, tell me, no, just glance it a bit. No, just glance and have a glance of this code and tell me which number comes in the log. If we resolve this, put ampersand x. You got my question right, ma'am? Ma'am, am I audible? Hello, ma'am. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
Sorry,
Rajiv.
I missed something.
Okay. So, which part did you miss it, ma'am?
Uh, I was the start percentage let is a global macro variable here.
Okay,
Exist
okay.
and
Yeah. So here my
yeah,
my question is, so I have defined x to be x as a global macro variable
10.
equal to 10.
Okay.
And again I'm defining
Mm-hmm.
x equal 20. Okay.
Okay.
Now tell me in percent put ampersand x. So which value will be displayed in the log if I run this entire portion?
20.
For which one for 20, ma'am?
X equal to 20.
At which line? For which line? We have two lines here,
3.
372 and 375. So what will be the value at 372 and what will be the value at 375?
At both, it will be 20. Just now you have told that
Mm-hmm.
if we give the same value for the global and local variable, we get the value what we given for the local only.
Okay. Does local work? I mean, yeah, we get the value what we get for local only, right?
Yeah,
So where does local get displayed? Out of the code or in between macro and main statement?
in between macro and main statement.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So now what will be at so now what will be the value at 372 and what will be the value at 375?
So it must be at 370 to 20
Mm-hmm.
and 375, it will be 10, I think.
Okay, okay. So what is the confusion here, ma'am?
Because it is outside the macro main statement, that's why the value will be 10, I am
Ex-
thinking.
Exactly. Okay, that is correct. Okay. So if you see here carefully, okay, if you see here, a local macro variable can't be displayed out of the macro main statement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it will be only displayed in the log in the x. But this x equal 10, this x equal 10 is a global macro variable. It can even be used in the local macro variable also. In the local also, right? But
Yeah.
but here what happened is here I am again mentioning x equal 20 as a local
Mm.
macro variable. So that's the reason this will surpass, this will replace the global macro variable, and in the local itself, it gets resolved to 20. If there is nothing in x, okay, if there is nothing mentioned for x is just mentioned
Okay.
only in the open code, and no nothing mentioned in the local macro statements. Eventually, you'll be getting 10 10 itself.
Yeah.
Okay, but you have mentioned something with the same macro variable, so the global will be replaced by the local in the in between the macro main statement. But out of macro main statement, it will be the same because out of macro main statement, a local can't work. So the in the open code, it will be still the global macro variable value. Got it, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. Now tell me here what happens. So what is the value of a person has put ampersand x at 382?
10.
10,
Yeah.
right? Okay, let's see. Okay, it is 10. Next one. And how about now?
It's 10.
Okay,
Here it is 20.
yeah, yeah. So let's decode this one. Okay. So what's happening here, ma'am? Okay. So personal let equal 10, macro mac, personal equal 20, min. So I have called mac 1. Okay, mac 1. Uh, let's run this. Okay. Mm, no, okay. We haven't mentioned local, right? Okay. Let's mention local here. Local X. Okay. Now it is 10. Okay. Clear, ma'am, on this one? Why did I mention local
Still,
here and again let here?
once can you explain again?
Okay. Uh, n- So here, if you see, so okay. So tell me what happened in the previous step, ma'am.
Here we are defining x as 10. It is
Mm-hmm.
outside the macro main statement. So
Okay.
when we call the x, we got the uh, x as 10. That is clear.
Mm-hmm. Okay. For example,
Hmm.
for example, uh, if you see carefully this statement, are we calling this Mac 1
Okay.
here?
No.
We are not calling the macro. Okay. Unless until we call a
No.
mac, no, unless until we call a macro, this X won't get defined, right?
Okay.
Right. I mean, you got my point, right? We already
Yeah,
have
yeah.
defined X equal 10, but we are not calling this macro Mac 1. So if we
Okay.
don't call this, there is no point of this, getting displayed.
Okay.
Okay. So here it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
directly, we are just calling this X. What is X? It's 10. And here,
Yeah.
and here, and what do we use? Let. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
here, and here, we are calling percentage Mac 1. Okay. So we are calling this, we are resolving this macro as a percentage let. Okay. We are getting, what is this? X equal 20. And here, if you see here I mentioned local percentage let X equal 20, put X and put X. Now see what happens here. No, it'll show you difference. Here we are getting 20, right, ma'am? And here we're getting 10,
Yeah.
10.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
But in the second case, we got 10 only, no? We
No,
got
20.
20.
We got 20, yeah. 20.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. So here we are making this X to be a local.
Okay.
Yeah.
In second case, it is not local.
It's not local. Yes. If you see here our previous examples,
But
uh,
if it is in between macro and min, then it is a local.
no,
No?
we are mentioning local, right? If you remember carefully, everywhere, we are mentioning local
Mhm.
here, right? Local.
Okay.
Yeah. So which
Okay.
means
If we mention local, then
mm,
it will be local.
local. Yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Clear.
Okay. Mm. Any questions, ma'am, until now? Uh, the let statement. This. Any questions?
Clear.
Okay. So no, always be careful in this portion, ma'am. Whenever you use same kind of a macro variable, okay, same macro variable.
Yeah.
Okay, so here if you see, so it is clear. We are not calling this local macro mac one. Here we are calling this mac one. Okay, so what I told
Mm-hmm.
you, ma'am, whenever you do this, it will consider it will consider the local one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure you use a local. You assign a local to the specific macro variable. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a so this is a, I would say, a different case where even it is local, but it'll still but it will still be displayed as 20 because that's because whenever we have same macro variable name, the locals resolves the the local, sorry, replaces the global one. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So when this local, what do you call, replaces the global one, what happens in the at the end, we get the local macro variable name, so value. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So always make sure you use personal local, which means it'll only stick to the personal macro and meant statement. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah.
Still confused or clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. Next one. Calls input. Calls input. Just a second. So call simple is something that whenever you want to create macro variable out of a data step. Okay. Whenever you want to create macro variable out of a data step. So it is okay. We use calls input for those kind of operations. So calls input macro variable comma value. Okay. So macro variable, which is macro variable name comma value. Okay. Data ds calls input macro var form value. Okay. Anything is fine. So it will null because there is no value in it. Right. Now let's assign some value. Calls input amount 1000. 10,000, sorry. 10,000. Right, ma'am?
Mm-hmm.
So amount got resolved to 10,000. So the first way for first in syntax, the first portion is macro variable in quotes, single quotes, and second portion is the value. Okay. Next one. Data ds set SAS help dot class calls input std name. So this name have many values, right? Name have many values,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So we
Mm-hmm.
are we are assigning that as a we are dumping those name values to into std name. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. If you see here, we get William. Okay. We got William. Why William?
The last one.
Last value. Okay. Okay. So whenever you use calls input and you use a column data and assign it to a macro variable, this macro variable will have the last value of the particular variable. Got it, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So in order to have all the variables, in order to have all the variables, sorry, not variables, in order to have all the data in the name column to be to be fed to the macro variable, we use in this way. Okay, std name can be of make a variable name. What is this called, ma'am?
A concatenation symbol,
Right.
double pipe symbol.
Yeah, double pipe symbol, concatenation, compress underscore n underscore. So we use compress because if you see in kind of a
To
trailing
remove
or
the blanks.
blanks, trailing or it'll be a safe side for us. Okay. Underscore. So what does underscore n underscore will give us?
All the observations. Number of
Observation
observations.
number of observations. So how that will start, ma'am?
Um, underscore n underscore equal to 1 in first iteration.
Okay. So it
Then
will be
2.
1, 2, 3, and so on, right?
Yeah,
For example,
yeah.
if I mention if I mention I equal to underscore n underscore, so if I run this
Mm-hmm.
particular statement, what will you have
Mm-hmm.
under I column?
Uh, 19 total number of observations.
No, no. What will you have in the I column? For example, if you have 19 observations in a data set, okay, I mention I equal
Okay.
to n underscore. So what will you have
1.
under? Okay, one and so on. One, just
Yeah,
one.
1.
Only one. And I said I have 19 observations. Okay, okay.
1 to n observations.
For example, I equal to underscore n underscore. Now tell me what does I will have in the output DS.
Not
Ma'am?
getting the question. It will be underscore n underscore.
No, no. My point is what? Okay, okay. If you see this, you have I here, right? What does this?
Yeah,
No, what values does I have? I will have.
1, 2, 3, and so on
Yeah, that's what I'm
until
asking
the
you.
last.
Yeah, yeah. This one, right? This one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The same way here. If I just mention std, if I make a variable concatenate with underscore n underscore, what will no, how many values will I have in DS? In the DS output. I'm sorry. Total how many macro variables will I have? Getting my question, ma'am?
One. Once again, can you repeat the question?
Okay. So if you see here, what I'm doing is macro variable concatenating with a compress of underscore n underscore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
no. So what will be the first value? What will be the first value?
First
Instant.
value will be 1.
Before one, do we have anything? Okay, this is one. Do we have anything here? So it will be std name one, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it is, right? That's what we used
Okay.
concatenation, right? So what does this pipe symbol do? What does this
It joins, concatenates the
concatenate? Which means
standard name. Yeah.
exactly it joins the standard name and whatever there in the next portion. Which what we have is underscore
Okay.
n underscore. When we resolve underscore n underscore, it'll have numericals, right? From 1 to n.
Yeah.
Okay, n can be
Mm-hmm.
of any value, right?
Yeah.
So here total we have how many? 19. Okay. So we'll have 19 variables, 19 macro variables. For example, if I run this particular portion, I get Alfred. Next one,
Okay.
and so on until 19. Alice. In this way, we get 19 macro variables. So previously what happened, ma'am? Previously what happened? If I simply mention std name, common name, we used to get the last
The
data
last one.
data in
Yeah.
the macro variable. But if we make some amendments to this calls input, maybe with the help of underscore and underscore, you'll be getting, so this and std name 1 will be assigned to the, will have the first variable, so
Okay.
first value in the variable name. Okay,
Yeah.
right, ma'am? Yeah. So here I want to know the status of a particular data set. Okay, so if age, so in this data set, if age is greater than 14, then calls input status adult, else calls input status minor. So do we have in this particular date, do we have age greater than 14?
Mm,
Let's
no,
see.
I think.
No? Okay. Then it'll be minor. Else it will be adult, right?
Yeah.
Mm. It seems we have data. So it is adult. Let's see. We have age greater than 14.
115. Yeah.
Okay. We have 15 to 15, 16, 15.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. In this way, this is a simple example. Yeah. In this way, now we can use the calls input. Okay. Clear, ma'am? Any questions? Okay. Yeah. So this next step, I'll explain you this while going through proxy_equal. I'll park it for that. Okay. Let's go to other one. Another one also is proxy_equal. It's also proxy_equal. Will be mm, okay. Yeah. Okay then, ma'am. I guess no, we'll deal with this into colon. So into colon. So it is into colon. So no, this other way. Other is an other macro variable. No, to create use a different macro variable in the SQL statement. Okay.
Okay.
So the calls input is something to create macro variable from the data step. Intercall is something to create macro variable from a SQL. From SQL. Now we'll go to that. No,
Okay.
while going to the proc SQL, not now. Okay. Okay. Now we'll end until here, ma'am. Uh, any
Mhm.
questions until now? Okay, we just have there's 2 more classes. Now we can complete this particular macros. Yeah. Any questions, ma'am, until now in terms of creating global, local, ma'am?
Clear.
Sorry,
It's clear.
clear. Okay. Then
Yeah.
I'll upload these classes, ma'am. I'll upload these macro
Mm-hmm.
classes. Please
Okay.
go through those from the start. Okay. Yeah, that's very important. I mean, if you tend to forget any previous topic, just go through those. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, Rajiv.